we get her involved. Because we want these kids to really understand what Booker T. Washington was talking about. He was talking about doing something, not talking about doing something. He was doing something. You know, and hopefully we're going to get all of them to figure out what this is about. Let's do this.
Now, Tuskegee was one of my choice accounts when I was in the janitorial business.
Good.
And I went down several times. But Tuskegee is not the Tuskegee now.
I understood that it was then. I understand.
It broke my heart to find out that all of those schools that was there when I was there, like tailoring and plumbing and electricity and
You tell them when it was color schools. They ain't color schools anymore.
Well, I don't mean it from that viewpoint. You see, we still need some good plumbers.
That's right.
Yeah.
We still need some good electrician because the building is going on. But Tuskegee has drifted away from that trade.
That's right.
Industry. Industry.
That's right.
And now you can go down there and get you a degree in pharmacist. You can get you a degree in anything you can go to Memphis State and get.
Mm-hmm.
It's still a good school, but it still need to be a trade school.
That's right. They need to learn trades.
Yeah, they need to learn trades because everybody don't go. Everybody is not capable of going to college. They're not going to apply themselves. It's not that they're not capable. They're not going to apply themselves to that extent.
No matter what they don't want to be truck drivers. They can learn. They can learn what he telling about chemicals.
Yeah, my dad started a janitorial service after he worked for Campbell 66. He started Memphis House Cleaning, and he went around cleaning up business offices, and his first contract was with Campbell 66. And 3 o'clock in the morning, I can remember him and my brother getting up to go clean the offices at Campbell 66. And so, and I know that he had big drums of chemicals that they used and buffers and stuff. So black people used to do all these things, and we swayed away from it. And it was made very good money in that type of business. I know he did. He put a lot of people that lived what we call a project over there by St. Paul and everything. He put a lot of those men to work, and they worked for him. And so I don't know if we lost that culture to create our own job, our own work, or we got so dependent on the man to say that we forget about what we can do with our own hands and our own brain.
But we're going to have to go back to it.
We got to.
If we lost it, we're going to have to pick it up.
Find it.
One of the main reasons why we're going to have to pick it up is because the Hispanics are here.
Yes, and they're doing the same thing our people was doing.
That's right, and they're not going to leave soon.
Oh, no.
And I would also like to add to that like in my case here, and I think a lot of our cases, my generation, I'm in the 40s, and most of some of our elders urged us not to do what they did, to do better than them, supposedly do better than them. I'm the only one of my siblings that's patterning myself after my father that's looking to build my own company. I don't want to go and do the 40-year plan where I go on somebody's job and work 40 years and hope I get a retirement, and then I got to pray that I can make it to the bathroom.
Y'all ain't got to worry about working 40 years no more.
That's right.
No, not African American
now too. Those jobs are gone.
Nobody in the United States of America.
It's gone.
No, it's gone. Yeah, because we used to have job security. I worked at a bank for, well, right now I'm on it's extended leave, but I worked for this bank and it had the best benefits. And when I got sick, I never missed a paycheck. And I was telling my daughter, I said, you don't find those kind of jobs. I retired out, I got pension. They gave what you call profit shares. It was all kind of money there that we didn't even know. And as African American people, the ones that was there, we didn't even know how to invest. We were told when one bank bought the other bank, you got all these profit shares. And for the first time in our life, we had large
How
money.
you doing?
All right.
But you know, the white folks told us that we had to sell or we were gonna have to pay taxes on those shares, and a lot of people did not keep their shares. They sold them and put the money in the bank, and they made us sell them during the time that the stock was low. And by March, that stock had went up to double the amount that we had sold it for. And they were buying. They were buying like crazy. And, you know, but we learned from our errors and stuff. But, you know, we have one.
After 300 years, it would have seemed that y'all would learn.
We should have known better. But I was one of those people, I learned everything that I could from department to
How
department.
y'all doing?
Oh, you said
How you doing?
Great. How you doing, Mr. Porter?
I'm doing
Mr. Black, how you doing?
How you
All right.
say?
Y'all here throwing down. I came at the right time, didn't you?
Would you come and get you something to eat?
All right.
But, you know, this just showed the ignorance of our people. And this was one of the things that we were told, you get you a job with job security. And you stay there, and just like you said, at 40 years, you stuck in a place. I hated going to my job every day. I hate it. I balanced the whole bank book for the bank. I know banking from one end, all the operations and everything. Should start my own bank. But, you know, it takes money, it takes securities and stuff like that. And that's what we're afraid to jump into that with the money thing, instead of trying to find our investors and stuff like that and going forward and starting our own place of business. And I think a lot of things that hold African American people back is that fear.
And what you just said alluded to as well too, we investing back into one another.
Right.
Because what I'm building when that day comes is so, it's not how much I'm gonna have, it's so much I'll be able to do.
Yeah.
But I don't believe in hand out, I believe in hand up.
Yep. Yep. And I think that I always told my brothers and sisters, let's put a pot of money, let's buy stock, let's do this and do that. And when the market failed, they said, see there, you was trying to get us to do this stock thing. I said, when it failed, you should have been buying. I said, that's the time to buy. I said, you buy at the lowest point, you sell at the highest point. That's how they make their money. I don't watch this for years. And so, and it takes as little as $2,000 to set you up a portfolio. You know, that's not a lot of money.
I think you're on something.
And if I wouldn't even get excited about everything that don't fail. But if you start looking at these companies, the old companies that been here a while, and they stock is down, maybe if you find out what they're doing and everything, you might be able to get in it.
Well, I've learned to use the phrase dream killers. I don't allow dream killers around me. I don't even want dream killers near me.
I understand that.
Yeah.
Well, let me ask this question. How are we going to learn, when I say how are we going to learn, how is Tom, Dick, and Harry, and Mary going to learn these things that you know? Now, let me say a little bit more before you answer. The church is a very good place where people like you ought to be. And you ought to be close to the ministry of your church, the minister, and get him to see what you understand and see. To the extent where they will get programs in the church where they have a ministry, a business ministry.
Yeah.
Because see, Tom, Dick, and Harry is just not going to know what you know. You know it because you work there. So what I'm saying is, there are many, many people out there walking around in the street who have knowledge like you have, and they're not affiliated in a church. And some of them affiliated in a church, but he said, I just go there and hear the singing, the praying, and the preaching, and I leave. But see, the church stays closed from Sunday evening until next Sunday in many instances. And nothing goes on there that could be going on. But they got a big expense. They got to keep the church warm in the winter, they got to keep it cool in the summer, they got to keep it clean and all of that. But see, if they had programs in the church with people who are efficient, who know what they're talking about, it could be a whole lot of people that would be involved into something that's not involved.
And when
And God wants that.
when you mention that chemical company, I can remember going door to door selling this chemical called Drex.
What?
Drex, D-A-X, Drex. And it was a all-purpose cleaner. And people bought that little bottle of chemicals. $3 was a lot back then. But they bought that bottle of chemicals, and after they used it, they wanted some more. You know, they said, look, if you got some more of that stuff, you can get some more. And I was the top seller in my class. I sold more Drex than I was going to a white school. And most of the time, people sell candy or something like that. But like you said, if you got a product that is good, you can sell it. And I never heard of a person having their own manufacturer. Not too many blacks have their own manufacturing company. And we need to get back to when these companies close.
You ever heard of Percy Julian?
No.
Percy Julian, he is considered to be a person of color, a so-called black person. Back in the 1940s, he was a chemist. He gained great wealth from developing scents, you know, things that you like to smell.
Yeah.
And he lived in Rosemead up there in Chicago. And at that time, y'all wasn't allowed to walk in Rosemead, but that's where he lived. And he got his family into a position to have something. He was a chemist. His name was Percy Julian. He's in most of the so-called black history books. This was weird because all these kids that graduated from Booker T. Washington, the little child that was in it just a minute ago, he knew more about Booker T. Washington than every one of them children that graduated from Booker T. Washington.
Oh.
That's right. But why are our children not learning anything about Percy Julian? About the brother up here in Indianapolis, Bill Mays? About you, Mr. Paul?
Yeah.
You know, about the brother over in Arkansas that I think he got tired of people depending on him to have the chemicals for embalming, and when the so-called white company wouldn't sell him the chemicals, he started making his own embalming chemicals, and then all of a sudden, colored people had their own embalming chemicals. I think that's what needs to be done. But like you're saying, you have not really heard anything about any of these people, and your children are not being taught in school about any of these people. In other words, I'm reading in the history books, the history of Memphis. I've never seen you in the books.
And it
I've never seen you in the books. And you're 84 years old. Norma Lee is, I think, 87 or something. She's talking to you? Is that Mary talking to you or something?
I don't know. I didn't hear.
Okay, don't worry.
You called me, Mary?
Well, I'm just overjoyed to meet you, and because this been a history class for me, you know, just hearing about your chemicals and everything, and you know, we got so much work to do. I do a lot of work in the community, but the more I come out and hear what everybody's doing, I'm still not doing enough work. You know, teaching these kids.
Thanks for everything.
Mary. Oh, you leaving? I thought that was you leaving.